Hello and welcome to CEAZOR Snack Sandwich. Today we're going to take a look at Xerox DAO.finance. Now, I kind of miscalled this one. I thought they weren't going to produce much, but I guess they're motoring away. They're starting to produce quite a bit. They've put out a lot of ideas and thoughts about what they're going to do with their token and how they're going to, provide value to the Phantom ecosystem. I should have known that, the devs of these teams would have followed through with this, and I should have farmed this token. However, what's done is done, and so I've decided to look through it. If you go to the docs, it's quite a reader. Like there's every third word is a token. It's pretty difficult. You got to read it carefully. You got to skim through it. You gotta dig deep. Okay, so I went through. I read the docs actually a few times. It's like I said, pretty hard. And I've produced a flowchart for you guys. I'm going to go through and try to explain to the best of my ability. Now, I haven't verified any of the things I'm going to tell you. I just basically read the docs, and I read the Medium article, and I read the docs, and I produced this flowchart for you guys. Now, like I said, I asked a few of the people on the team, but there's ETH Denver and stuff, and I guess maybe people are busy these days, so I didn't get any. I didn't find any time to actually talk to any of the devs or any of the team members who are producing this or designing this. But I think I've got a pretty good understanding of it, so I'm going to share that with you with a flowchart. So let's swing over to the flowchart now and take a look at what's inside there. So here we are on the flowchart, and here is what I'm going to use as Xerox DAO website or the protocol itself. Now keep in mind that the protocol is not written, the code isn't written because Andre is still adjusting the solid lead contracts, so they have to wait for that to be produced, and then they can start to they can just deploy this. But basically today I'm just going to be talking about the design of the tokenomics and not so much about the protocol in a sense. And that's kind of usually what I talk about mostly anyways, okay? So let's get into it. So in this case, in this design, there are two major actors. There's a person, or like an investor, an individual person, or something like that. And then there are the teams of other protocols. Now you have to remember that they had a race. The top 25 teams got a NFT, a VE solid token. So they can participate in this protocol, and so can the individual who just farms solid tokens when that comes live. So both of these people have the choice to give their solid tokens to Xerox DAO. Now it's a one-way track. You give them and then you don't get them back. Okay, so you give your solid tokens and they give what I'm going to call oxSolid. I'm not sure if it's Xerox or oxSolid, but I'm going to call it oxSolid just for the rest of this video. So they get back oxSolid 1-to-1. So I give one solid, I get one oxSolid. If I give one solid worth of VE NFTs, then I get one oxSolid back. So that the teams can basically get the same deal as this. Now, keep in mind that anytime oxDAO, maybe Xerox DAO gets solid tokens from anywhere, what they want to do is lock them for VE solid, and then they can get more voting rights and so forth. Okay, so forth. So again, over to the next one. So first, we're going to talk about staking. Now, Bill over here, Dollar Bill, he could stake, but I'm just going to use one side because I'm going to have him do other actions instead, just to illustrate the other options. Now, keep in mind that either of these people can do either of the options that are here. So because he has oxSolid, right, he can stake oxSolid. And what happens when you stake oxSolid is you are granted a share of the rebase. Okay, why does the solid token rebase? Okay, it's Andre's design. Andre's design is that every time one solid goes out to LPers as rewards, then the lockers also get one solid as a rebase, because he doesn't want the people who lock tokens for voting to be diluted by emissions. Okay, so one rebase token every time they rebase, then he's going to get more oxSolid. Because remember, they don't want the protocol doesn't want to give away solid tokens very much. Okay, so they get a rebase, then they get an equivalent amount of oxSolid given to them, and they can stake those if they wish. Okay, and keep adding to their stake, or they can do other things. Okay, now on the Because he's a staker, then he also gets 10% of the earned solid, okay, as oxSolid. So the protocol will earn solid in various ways, which I will get into as I get further through things. But just keep in mind that a staker is going to get he's going to get oxSolid equal to the rebase that that he should get, and his share of the rebase, and he's also going to get his share of the 10% of the earned solid tokens as oxSolid, okay? Now, there are also bribes, okay? So other protocols will bribe solidly, saying, oh, please vote for my liquidity pool, give my liquidity pool some more rewards, right? And anytime Xerox DAO votes on them and is able to claim these bribes, then the bribes will go to the stakers, okay? Now there is one thing inside. It says that if you go to the docs, let's go here. It says here's protocol optimized solid trading fees and protocol optimized gauge bribes. Now, how to explain this? Because when people vote on LPs, right, then the LP rewards go to the people who stake the LPs, but they forfeit the trading fees. If you don't understand this, you can watch my other video where I talk purely about Solidly and how it works. So the people who stake LPs in Solidly, they give up their fees in return for solid tokens. So these trading fees are going to come to the voters, which is oxSolid. And because they get the trading fees, they're going to give the stakers XD tokens. Now these are like the original tokens of this DAO, but they have upgraded them to version 2, and I'm not sure when, but eventually you'll be able to convert your version 1 to version 2. Okay. So that's the trading fees, and then the bribes we talked about, like they're getting bribes and they're going to give those to the stakers. Now let's go over here. So let's say he was an original farmer, not like CEAZOR, or he went to the market just now and he bought some XD tokens. What can he do with these XD tokens, and what can he do, the stakers, what can they do with XD tokens when they receive them? So the first option you can do is burn them for more oxSolid. So you could just burn your tokens and get some oxSolid in return, and then decide what you want to do with the oxSolid, okay? Now, the other option you could do is you could provide liquidity versus phantom on Solidity. So you could take your OXD tokens and take some phantom, and you could supply them, and then you take your LP and stake it in Xerox DAO. Now this, I'm assuming, I'm not sure, it doesn't say that anywhere, but it only makes sense to me that you should have to stake this inside this DAO somewhere, inside this protocol. And because you do that, you're going to get rewarded in Xerox DAO tokens. Now, why? Because these guys have LPs that are staked here, and those LPs are earning solid rewards, but they don't want to give solid. So instead, they're going to give you XD tokens. Okay. Next, you can also, if you have some oxSolid and you don't want to stake it, then you can supply liquidity to oxSolid versus solid and stake it into the DAO. So supply liquidity, stake it into Xerox DAO, and Xerox DAO will earn more solid and give you XD tokens. Okay, so it's two options. So you can take your rewards, burn them for oxSolid, and then make LPs, or you can just provide XD LPs. Okay. Next, partner boosts. Now, to become a partner, all you have to do is have given XD more solid than Terra Finance. Now, there's a number on the docs you can go through and dig through there, but basically, any of the top 25 can give more than Terra because they have more than Terra. So if they stake more, then they become partners. And then If you're a partner, then you gain 10% of all the, you get 10% share, your share of the 10% of all the solid that is earned. So all of these LPs, staked LPs, this solid, you'll get 10% of that paid in solid, okay? Then you can do with the solid as you please. You can lock it for more oxSolid, okay? And then you can also get a boost on the rewards that you would get from staking. So this becomes equal to the amount. Basically, you can go through and check this formula, but basically it's like how much oxSolid you have versus everybody else, okay? Versus all of the solid in circulation. So you get a boost. You get, this becomes higher and higher and higher, okay? And the last option you can do if you have some XD tokens is you can stake the XD tokens, or sorry, lock the XD tokens, vote lock them for 16 weeks. And then you're going to get 5% of the fees paid in XD tokens. So let's swing over to the docs and look at the fees. So there are fees for various things. Now the fees come out of the LPs that are staked on the platform. So you produce, those two LPs, the XD, these two LPs right here. So 15% of that is taken, right? So 10% goes to the X stakers paid out in solid, right? 5% goes to the vote locked XD tokens. So I showed you that. And then there are these possible like governance votes that governance can increase the fees by 0 to 5%. So 15 could go to 20 and 25, I assume. And, they could incentivize these LPs further with oxSolid, and they can also give some fees to the treasury if the treasury needs to build up a war chest. So that's pretty much it. It's quite a dandy. It's a lot, and I could have made some mistakes here. There's a little bit of assumptions in a few places, but I think I've got it down. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.